Analysts say that they expect the positive sentiment in Nigeria's equities market to be sustained after moderating to 5.1% year to date. Ayodeji Ebo, the head of retail investment at Chapel Hill Denham, joins me now to discuss the expectations for the capital markets here in Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time today, Ayodeji. Let's start by taking
Thanks.
stock on the performance of the equities market. And so far, how do you see things play out?
Yeah, so we've seen a lot of ups and downs, and it's just been oscillating around the current levels and just few stocks. So if we're going to look at this year, we will need to look at what are those specific stocks that have that dragged the market into positive. You want to focus on the telcos, really played a major role in that, and settlers. But when you X those major stocks, you see that market underperformed in 2021. But looking into 2022, if we look at 2022 is the pre-election year, and we expect that there will be more volatility. There will be less participation from foreign investors. We all know that 2023 is a year where everyone will be anticipating who becomes the president. It's not like the sitting president trying to recontest. So in terms of policy direction will really matter. So we believe that equities market will be very volatile. Beyond that, we know the quantitative easing in the global space would also reduce flows to emerging and frontier markets. So as a result, what would pitch to investors is they need to come in tranches. There will be opportunities where markets will dip significantly, and it's time that will be the time to acquire for the long term. So it's going to be a close watch approach that should be adopted for the equities market in 2022. Before I wrap up on the equities market, some sectors may stand out. The likes of the telecommunications sector, we know despite the uncertainty, despite the insecurity, in terms of revenue and business activity has not been impacted. So we believe that likes of MTN, Airtel Africa will continue to also lead the pack within that space. We believe that with the just concluded offer, we expect that by the time the result allotment is also released, that we believe that more trading activity, we'll see more trading activity in the MTN shares.
All right, but looking for more forward into the market and how things are playing out in terms of your outlook, I'd like to get your thoughts on the prospects for the exchange-traded derivatives that we're expecting to come on board sometime next year as well, and the expected impact you think this will have on the market here.
Okay, thanks. I believe that it is a good way to, it's going to add to the options in the market. What we'll be looking forward to is what will be those underlying assets, or what are the indices that will be traded as ETFs. There's still a lot of knowledge gap in this market, so we expect that it should be dominated more by the institutional investors. We expect that PFAs may also want to play within this space. So we believe it's a positive one for our market because it will add to the options for the institutional investors to play within the market. But a lot of investor education needs to be done, and there needs to be a lot of push within that particular space.
All right, finally on the equities, before we move on to the fixed income side, I would like to get what your outlook is for listings and IPOs.
Okay, thanks. I think with the excitement, the euphoria we got within the MTN, the announcement of the MTN offer, and in terms of participation, we believe that for blue chip companies that are looking at raising equity capital can also try to begin to watch the market. Though it's a bit sketchy because when you look at the 2022, the year of election, and there will be a lot of apathy, investor apathy, and a lot of uncertainty within that space. But by and large, for companies that have strong fundamentals, and for some of those companies, it's an opportunity for them to also look and exploit that equity opportunity to raise long-term capital. We've not been seeing much of POs or IPOs in our market, and we believe that maybe if once the allotment or the successful allotment or successful result of the MTN offer would also have a major role to play in future offers.
All right, and finally, let's get to the fixed income space. And for you, what's the biggest thing to look out for in the Nigerian market in the fixed income space going into next year?
Okay, thanks. If we want to work based on data, we expect that the fixed income space yield should improve. When you look at the budget deficit for over 6 trillion, and based on our projection, it may go as high as 8 trillion at the end of the year. So it means that government would borrow more in 2022, which speaks to rise in interest rates. But we've also seen the way the debt management office, the CBN, has also been trying to keep finance costs very low. So balancing between that, we believe that yes, there will be, from this current level of the 5% level for the 364 days, we believe that it should move towards between maybe 7 to 8% levels at most next year. And even for looking at the longer end of the curve for bonds, we're looking at between levels of 12.5, maybe a bit of 13, above 13% for the longer end next year, because government will also want to be cautious as you approach the election year. Despite the uncertainty, we know that participation of foreign investors has reduced, especially this year. So we don't expect significant capital flight that will push yields higher in 2022. So by and large, we believe that there will be more interest, more issuances within the CP space, which is an area where investors should also begin to look out for, so that they can be able to balance out the reduced yield within the treasury bills market and use that to boost their return on their portfolio.
Yeah, definitely a lot to consider when you go into the fact that next year is going to be a pre-election year. Thank you so much for your analysis on the show, Ayodeji. As always, I always appreciate that. Ayodeji Ebo is the head of retail investment at Chapel Hill Denham.